Hi, my name is Kim Adams. My informative speech today is how to become a certified sign language interpreter and be knowledgeable of the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act law, and how it protects the deaf and hard of hearing communities all across the United States. The ADA was written and it protects the deaf and hard of hearing in numerous ways. Providers that provide services to the public are required to provide communication accommodations for the deaf or hard of hearing individuals. They have to provide like a sign language interpreter. And any deaf person receiving benefits from the federal government cannot be discriminated against because of a disability if they're receiving federal benefits. There's different sections of the ADA that there are titles that protect the deaf. For instance, Title II, it makes programs accessible to individuals that are deaf and hard of hearing. Title IV provides telecommunications accessibility to people that are deaf or hard of hearing, which requires them, the states, to have provide accessible telecommunications so that they can make phone calls and receive phone calls just like a hearing person does. There is a relay service, Sorenson Relay, that is set up in Kansas, in Lawrence, Kansas, and you dial a person's phone number and it automatically connects to their computer and dials through to them. And you talk to a live interpreter, and the deaf and hard of hearing person can communicate seeing the live interpreter on their screen. That's Title IV, providing the telecommunications accommodations under the ADA. There's another example under telecommunications, for instance, like closed captioning on TV programs. That's part of the ADA. It's providing the accommodations for the deaf and hard of hearing community. Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 is the titles and where those come from, and gives the accessibilities and has where the public has to provide those accessibilities and accommodations for the deaf and hard of hearing. To become a certified sign language interpreter, there's several steps involved. The first one is you have to take a written test through the National Association of the Deaf called RID, R-I-D. The written test costs approximately $300, and once you pass that, you're able to move on and go to a performance test, which includes transliterating and interpreting. In a lot of states, you have to be certified in certain states, or you can become nationally certified under RID for the performance testing. You can also get certified under the education interpreting, which means that you interpret under different levels and can interpret in the educational aspects of things. If you get performance certified and certified under KQUAS, which is where you can interpret just about anywhere, but you have certain levels that you have to pass. For instance, level 1 and 2 is just very basic interpreting. Level 3 and 4 is a little more advanced. And level 4 or 5 is where you can interpret medical or legal issues. It's very important that you don't interpret in a situation unless you're certified to do so, because you're, say, like for instance, if you were in a situation, in a legal situation in a courtroom, and you interpret something wrong, you're held liable for that and can be charged, for not getting that message across clearly. Or if you're in a medical situation and you're interpreting and you're not interpreting what the doctor's saying and the patient's not understanding, you're going to mislead that person to think something different or relay something different to the doctor, so the communication isn't there accurately to provide appropriate services. Understanding the ADA is very important to be able to service and help deaf people in the community and be an advocate for them. It's necessary to understand the ADA, or you can't advocate. To be an advocate, deaf people are they have their own culture. They're taught, it's almost like a different language, and they don't speak plain English like we do. Everything's very choppy. So if they receive a letter in the mail from the public, someone from the public, they're not going to quite understand that letter. So advocating and working for the deaf, they may bring you a letter and say, can you interpret this for me? Can you explain what it means? That's part of advocating. So there's a lot of different things that you need to be knowledgeable about in order to become an advocate and help the deaf and hard of hearing in your community. And the first step is educating yourself on the ADA and how it protects people with disabilities, and becoming certified so that you are able to provide the services and you've got the education and the knowledge to provide the services and be an advocate and be a certified sign language interpreter for the community of the deaf and hard of hearing. Thank you.